Dad, your wish is coming true. You're going to be in another YouTube video. Oh, just a few more of these. You're just going to be a YouTube star.
I'll be a YouTube star.
Yeah, we're going to have to get him to run how to.
Royalty check.
Yeah. You gotta learn how to run a GoPro first, though. Cool, but oh yeah, that's my goal. Yeah, we'll go through that. So we got to start the video. You want to start with the welcome back to the good old Southern IA? You want to say it?
No.
You want to say it? You want to say it?
No.
Okay, welcome back to the good old Southern IA. We got a little bit of a different video for you guys here today. We were asked, I guess, we would like to come up and actually tour the KINZE manufacturing plant. Before we do that, he hasn't been introduced on the channel yet. This is my father, Scott Van Roekel. He's who I work for and who I work with on the farm. I don't know if you guys can tell that we're related or not, but during harvest, Susie, the CEO of KINZE, actually reached out and offered us to come up to the plant, and I told Dad that. He was like, yeah, like that's cool. So last Tuesday, we were able to head on up there, and the first thing that we did was we actually went into the Innovation Center, which is where you can actually learn quite a bit about KINZE. Starting out, what KINZE is a manufacturing company in the ag sector. They specialize in planters, grain carts, and tillage. KINZE is pretty much an American success story in a way. Started
Totally
by 100%. It was started by John Kinzenball. He was, I think, 21 years old, had really no money. I think they say like $25 in a bank loan, and he was basically a fix-it guy. He was a welder, a repairman, and he just found a niche throughout the years, and this is all stuff that you can see in the Innovation Center that's open to the public, that you guys can actually go in there and see the story of KINZE, that he's now built this company, and it's still a family-owned company. Some of you guys know that I actually grew up around the Cedar Rapids area, and my dad farmed down here in southern Iowa for years and years as a hobby farmer before he became a full-time farmer. And so I drive down Interstate 80 with Dad or by myself coming back down here to the farm. And over the years, we got to see KINZE's plant develop when they actually built the Innovation Center. Yep. We saw that. We saw when they built their new office building. So it's been kind of interesting to see the plant and the manufacturing facilities grow over the years as we drove past there. And one thing I've always wondered was actually what went on inside the manufacturing plant. And
the manufacturing plant started from 10,000 square feet, as I understand it, to somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.25 million square feet under roof.
Yep.
So that's
30 acres. They have 30 acres under roof. So we didn't get to see the whole facility. It's like it'd take a long time to see the 30 acres, but we got to stay under, and we're basically in the planter manufacturing section of the plant. But when we walked in there, they actually invited us into the theater set area where we watched a couple of the videos that they produce. They actually have their own social media channel. If you guys want to go see what they do, I'll put a card up in the upper right hand corner. You guys can head on over to their channel. They produce really awesome videos too, and they interview John and other people talking about KINZE. And this is actually the cool thing, is that I actually got a chance to actually talk with Susie, and that really kind of speaks volumes to a company, because I don't know any other top-end manufacturing companies that you can say that you could talk to an owner.
And the CEO, and I think she spent half hour, 45 minutes with you.
Oh yeah, and to even have a CEO that's willing to take time out of the day to come talk to a couple ruffians, you know, and that was a pretty neat experience. After meeting with Susie for a little while, we actually got to go on to the tour. That's where we met Pam with the Jingle Bells.
Yep.
Going into the factory, they have a tunnel. And
yeah, I'd say the tunnel's like 75 to 85 yards long. Pretty long tunnel.
And then you actually enter the facility, and I had no clue what I was going into. Only thing that I could ever think of was like welding shops, and if you go into a welding shop, it's usually kind of fumey in the shop. It's dirty from grinding and everything else like that, but going in there, clean. Well lit, clean, comfortable. The air was
very clean.
Very clean. Like how they keep 30 acres as clean as that was, it was something to be seen. The first thing that they talk about is they actually bring in a bunch of raw materials
5 to 6 semi-loads of steel a day.
And the only thing that they said that they did not manufacture is the rubber, the plastic, and the cast.
Correct.
That's, other than that, everything else is made in-house at KINZE. So when they bring in the metal is then put onto beds, which they had machines, and then it's cut to size, and then it's shipped out to the welders. And these welders have different bays depending upon what they're welding.
The frames and the tongues and the markers.
And then they put all those components onto basically a wire, a rail. And when a planter has all of its components, it's then sent through powder coat. They have a black powder coating and a blue powder coating, 2 long, huge furnaces. I mean, these things were massive.
Yep.
After powder coating, it's then sent to the other side of the factory, which is the assembly side of the factory. The planter actually moves it. The frame gets assembled first, and then the row units start to get put on, and then all of the assembly parts. And I think the smaller planters moved 5 times, and the bigger planters moved like 8 times to finish.
Yeah, it was in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 moves.
5 or 6 moves to produce a planter.
Produce a planter, yeah.
And then depending upon if the planter was to be sold in the U.S., depends on how much is actually put onto the planter. If it wasn't being sold in the U.S., it got shipped so that it can fit into a shipping container.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. There was one actually getting packaged for shipment while we went by there, and they're just packing it on there. Some of the cool things that stood out to me when I was on the tour is seeing the parts, like seeing a part be made and knowing what that part is because of working on the planters. Like even the little latches that you flip for the springs that lifts up the row units and locks the row units. I was like, I know what that is. I know you like the presses.
Oh yeah, impressive machinery were the 45 ton and 70 ton and a 90 ton press. And the plasma cutters, the massive plasma cutters that take just 10 or 11 tables full of big plate steel and make their own hydraulic cylinders.
Oh yeah. What we were told is that the failure rate on the hydraulic cylinders was
1 in 25.
1 in 25.
When he was outsourcing.
Not happy with that. So they now make their own hydraulic cylinders, and now their failure rate on their hydraulic cylinders is
1 in 200.
1 in 200, is that what it was? These are massive hydraulic cylinders. After the very impressive tour, we actually went back into the showroom where we got to talk about certain products. Like I stated earlier in the video, KINZE specializes in tillage tools, grain carts, and planters. In KINZE's tillage lineup is the Mock-Till high-speed disc. This machine is extremely heavily built. It looks like it's built for low maintenance, for durability. It's got a narrow transport width. It looks like it could do a great job with sizing residue in the fall. And then it also looks like with the press wheel on the back, it kind of looks like a collie packer or a rubber collie packer. It looked like it'd do a really nice job of preparing a seed bed. It looks like you can cover a lot of acres with one of these. So now grain carts. We have a KINZE 1040 grain cart on the farm. You guys have seen that in the videos. My dad's owned it for a really long time, and it has had no repairs done to it whatsoever. It's been an absolutely amazing grain cart. In KINZE's lineup, they have 2 different designs of carts. They have a single auger cart and they have a dual auger cart. Their single auger cart is exactly what it says. It has 1 auger that controls all the flow of the grain on the cart. They have two different models of those. They have the 851 and the 1051. They talk about the sight lines on these carts, in which it looks like they have really good sight lines. When you're carrying around that big of a cart, you have a lot of blind spots behind you, but with this cart, it looks like you can see quite a bit better. You also have options in terms of the tires that you have on there. I think there's 2 different options of tires, and then of course you have the option of tracks. And then the dual auger cart is what we understand or we are familiar with. The dual auger cart is like our 1040 cart. It has one auger that comes and shuttles the grain to the transfer box, and then has a vertical auger that dumps it onto the truck. The capacities on these carts go from 1100 all the way to 1500, and when you see a number on a KINZE grain cart that's say 1205, it's actually closer to like a 1400 bushel grain cart, because they actually don't include the heap up value of the storage capacity of those grain carts. The design of them, the look of them is great. So after hanging out around the grain carts for a little bit, we actually got to move into their 5 series planters, which is KINZE's new high-speed planter. It's a redesign coming out for 2021. Looks like an absolute mean planter. They redesigned a lot of things on the planter. They've got a new Blue Vantage display. The display looks pretty good. It looks like something that you can run. And that's my dad, who got a smartphone for Christmas. He can run that. Options for the planter, it's also all the, you got a phone call. Boy, a telemarketer.
It is.
Hit your button. You know what button is? See, he doesn't know what button it is to hang up on the telemarketer. So
I just let it ring and don't answer it.
So with the redesign, they have true speed, true rate vac meters, and then blue drive electric drives. So it's completely an electric drive planter. On top of that, with the redesign of the new meter, that looks great. They actually put double bushing parallel arms into the planter. That was, I think that's going to put a lot of life into the units. They said the first wear unit that you need to replace on those is at 500 acres. 500 acres before you have to replace a wear unit, and it was like a small thing. I think it was a brush, wasn't it?
Yep.
Brush.
500 acres per row.
Per row. So that's on 24 rows, that's 11,000 acres, isn't it? 12,000?
Yeah.
12,000, yeah, 12,000 acres before you have to replace anything. And
Math whiz.
Math whiz. Good job. What I thought was the biggest advantage for what they did to put into the market is that when you go get new high-tech planters, you have to have a tractor to pull it. And we're not talking about horsepower tractors to pull it. You got to have like the hydraulic capacities to pull it, and like 6 remotes. This one, you need 2 remotes and a PTO. And it has a closed loop system, which the closed loop system, you explained it.
Well, once you set your vac and once you set your tank pressures and all that stuff, they stay set there.
Which when I'm planting now with the 24 row, it's got hydraulic drives. It actually takes all the hydraulics from the planter. And so as the hydraulic oil warms up or cools down, it changes the drive speeds, the vac pressures, it changes the pressure in the ADS systems. So I actually have to change the hydraulic flows throughout the day and monitor that stuff to make sure the planter's performing. And now it does it for you, and all you need is 2 remotes and a PTO. One thing that I guess I learned or was impressed with, maybe brought even a little more pride to use KINZE stuff, is that if you're in the market for a planter or anything like that, go on this tour. Like, try and set yourself up a tour and see the manufacturing process that's put into these products, and then if you can, go try and tour a different facility and see what they put into theirs. I highly doubt it competes with what KINZE's doing. Anything else to say about their planter?
Impressed.
Impressed?
Yeah.
You buying me a new planter?
Yeah.
Ah! But other than that, we had a great day up at KINZE. We'd like to thank the Kinzenball family for inviting us up. We'd like to thank the KINZE manufacturing family for taking the time and your guys' resources to show a couple Southern Iowans around. We really appreciate it. And of course, we'd like to thank you guys for hanging out with us down here in Southern Iowa. It's you guys watching the videos that kind of allows us to go do cool things like this. And of course, we're going to take you along with it. So you got any more things to say?
Nope. See you from the Southern IA.
Did you get your buddy shot?
Oh my gosh, are you Scott Van Roekel, the YouTube star? Our Uber, he's gotta get the door closed.